Baby, 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 all aboard the trauma train. Baby, did y'all get into this latest episode of Iyanla Fix My Life? What it should have been called is That's My Man, and I know it. I get a trembling in my soul. Y'all remember that Monica song, That's My Man? That's what it really should have been called, because all of this going on about my man this, my man that, it wasn't a man in the household. That's how I really was seeing and felt. That's what it was giving. It was my man for me. Nonetheless, y'all, let's get right on into it, because I got a lot to say. Mr. 6'8" coming at you with a new video. All right, y'all. So let's just start off by saying that this episode of Iyanla Fix My Life had my nerves so bad. All I can say is I don't feel like that nobody really got healing as far as it concerns around Yolanda. And Yolanda, if you watching this right here, your ass need Jesus. And I don't even think it's going to take that to get you right in line, because the way you did your kids, all I can say is I just feel bad. I feel bad for the kids. So Iyanla Fix My Life came on last night. All Aboard the Trauma Train was the title. And basically it was surrounded by this grandmother who back in the 70s, I assume, pretty much she shacked up with this lesbian, okay? And the lesbian, she got together, they call her Nana, if I recall correctly. And, basically, she got with the lady, and it was during the time in the Carolinas. Of course, as you know, back then, it was already bad enough just being interracial. But then just to have the whole homosexuality thing topped onto the interracial dating relationship that Miss Lula and her significant other was going through, it was just like, I can't even imagine. Like, I was shocked when I found out, because here it is, this woman walks in the house with her brother Herbert. And I'm thinking like, okay, this probably, she's probably been married to, an good old wholesome man that's been, working in the fields and all of that good stuff. She's probably been married for a long time. Come to find out, baby, Miss Lula said, look, let me tell you something. It may look like jam, but it shake like jelly. And I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, I don't discriminate. And I'm going to sit here and get down how I want to get down. Nonetheless, we come to find out that Miss Lula ended up dating this woman who she met at the hospital that she worked at on supposedly the same shift, even though Miss Lula's cousin said that that wasn't the case. Or whatnot. And how they met was that Miss Lula did not have a ride home. So every time she would, be waiting for her ride at the bus stop, here come her significant other, Nana, that will be passing through. And, basically was like, hey, you need a ride? And it just kind of stemmed from there. And next thing you know, they're in a full-blown relationship. So aside from that, Miss Lula also has 4 other kids who Iyanla never really did get into. I'm not sure if it was because of legality issues or what the case, but they just never got into it. But we do know that one of the kids was Yolanda. And Yolanda, as it was stated, Miss Lula said Yolanda came along during the pretty much like the inner part of their relationship, while the other 4 kids came along at the beginning of Miss Lula's and her, partner's relationship. So that's kind of, the whole backdrop of how everything got started. Now, let's get on to the meat and potatoes of what caused all the shit to just sit here and explode. Okay, so my apologies, y'all. The lady name was Miss Nancy. That was the white lady name that Miss Lula was involved with. Miss Lula had been involved with this lady for 45 years. In the midst of everything going on, Miss Lula coming up from the upbringing that she was, coming from. And when I mean that, what I mean by that is that back then, of course, as we know, stuff like, sexuality, interracial, all of that stuff, especially in the South, was just forbidden. It just was. That's just what it was. There's no like gray line. It just was forbidden. So Miss Lula was truly an OG to be sitting here doing all of this stuff, as far as, taking chances and everything, staying where she stayed at, and, pretty much being like, hey, I'm going to live my life, which I commend her. However, it ended up causing issues because of the fact that Miss Lula, stated that she did not really show the relationship around the kids. And so with that being said, it was almost like a thing of, okay, yeah, this woman comes over to the house and things like that. But, and eventually, when they started living together, it just probably was a thing like, hey, this is my business partner. This is my sister. Like probably just some kind of excuse Miss Lula was given for Miss Nancy because of the fact that, Miss Lula did not want to expose the children to her lifestyle, if you want to call it that. However, with all of that being said, Miss Nancy ended up getting very sick. Sick to the point to where she had to be put on, well, pretty much it was coming to the point of where, as we all know, when you get to a stage when you're dealing with terminal illness or just illness of any sort that requires you to be at a state of a morphine drip decision, that's where the I guess you would say the breakdown came in between Miss Lula, her children, and the whole situation that happened with her family. Basically, bottom line, what happened was that Miss Lula did not want to put Nancy on a morphine drip. She consulted with Derica, who was her grandchild's, which is now, I guess that would be wife or, fiance. But she consulted with her in-law, Derica, who is her grandchild's pretty much, significant other, on whether or not if Nancy could survive on a morphine drip, basically. And Miss Lula didn't want to put her on a morphine drip. So long story short, Miss Lula's child, Yolanda, who I'm going to get into that as well, how Yolanda came into the picture. But Miss Lula's child, Yolanda, wanted the morphine drip for Nancy because Yolanda and Nancy had like this, I guess you would say, to Yolanda, that was the father in her life, as weird as it may sound, but that was the father in her life. Nancy basically spoiled Yolanda, gave Yolanda money, which we come to find out later on was really Lula's money, and it just became a thing of where Yolanda did not want outsiders involved in family business or family decisions. Long story short, Miss Lula took a bathroom break at the hospital. She came back and Nancy had been put on the morphine drip, and from there it just caused all kind of stuff to break loose. Fast forward after the passing of Nancy, because once you get the morphine drip, it's pretty much like you don't come back, and that was Miss Lula's fear. They get to the house, okay? Derica is at the house. Yolanda comes over there. Before I even go into that, let me just back up a little bit because I'm getting ahead of myself because y'all, I'm excited. Like this story just has me like just my mind blown. So Yolanda, as I stated before, is Lula's child, whom Yolanda came into the picture. As I stated in the beginning, Miss Lula had 4 other kids, but Yolanda came into the picture once Nancy and Lula became involved in a relationship. They wanted kids together, okay? That was the decision that they had made. They wanted kids together. Long story short, Miss Lula knew the case. Well, she ended up meeting the caseworker because I guess they was going to the, looking to adopt and stuff. And so she was going to meet the caseworker, and the caseworker was hitting on her, at the, defects or the church and the not defects, but the places, places where the kids where the business people adopt the children at the adoption, agency and all that good stuff. Fast forward, this is just in my mind how I'm thinking it played out. But the caseworker was hitting on Miss Lula. Miss Lula said, well, look, here's an opportunity. The caseworker is hitting on me. Let me bring him home, okay? And basically, you know, serve him a piece of this potato pie. And when I say potato pie, Miss Lula was like, let me serve him a piece of this potato pie, okay? And as a result of that, you know, Miss Lula became pregnant. So now we have Yolanda, okay? And Yolanda, as I stated before, you know, Yolanda ended up coming into the middle of Nancy and Lula's relationship. Okay, y'all got it? Good. So, fast forward back to after the passing of Nancy, everybody came to the house. And Yolanda came to the house and basically, you know, Yolanda had an attitude. You know, she walked into the house, basically was like, what this bitch doing here? She was referring to Derica. And it just set off a whole chain reaction. Miss Lula being in fear of what, you know, as far as what was going on with the situation, because Yolanda obviously had been giving her problems as a younger child. And she just didn't know what to do. She went and got her brother. Miss Lula went and got her brother Herbert. Went up to his house and said, hey, you know, I got this situation going on back at home, yada, yada, yada. Boom. Herbert comes. Yolanda and Herbert get into it. As a result, it was allegedly stated that, you know, Herbert put his hands on Yolanda, dragged her a couple of inches or whatever, threw her across a couple of chairs, or, you know, whatever the case, bye, boom. You know, however it happened, you know, he did state that he did put his hands on Yolanda, you know, which was Lula's brother Herbert. And as a result, it just created this animosity and resentment over the years because of, you know, Yolanda felt like that she was not, you know, feeling protected. She felt like that her mom took sides with another person and that it just basically set a bad example in the household. So, as a result of all of that, over the years, Yolanda developed this narcissistic personality to where, because of the fact that she never really did have a structured life in the house of which she stayed in, it ended up causing a ripple effect when it came to her having a child. Okay, and so when she had Justin, Yolanda has 3 kids, Justin, Lauren, and KJ. When she had Justin, the oldest, she ended up choosing a man over Justin because of the fact that, you know, she had seen pretty much her mom being abused and, you know, drama going on in the household prior to Nancy's relationship, prior to Lulu and Nancy's relationship is what I'm putting together, because some of this stuff was left out. And then when you top that with the fact that she didn't really have her father around, who Lulu had got knocked up by, it just created I'm quite sure, it made for damaged goods, to say for lack of a better word, with Yolanda. So as a result, Yolanda, you know, she basically chose a man over her first child, which was Justin. And she ended up going to New York and leaving Justin with Lulu, her mom, Justin's grandmother. And as a result, now you have this generation that has created tension and animosity, because now you have abandonment issues and generational curses, to where first it was Yolanda who didn't grow up in a structured environment. As a result of her not growing up in a structured environment and her being able to get her way, because Nancy, you know, the one, as far as, you know, in a relationship that spoiled, you know, her between Nancy and Lulu, she didn't have structure. And, you know, Yolanda basically was telling Iyanla that, look, because I didn't have structure in my life, I was looking for men for structure. So when a man would tell me to shut up, that to me was structure. Now, as crazy as it may sound, it made a lot of sense, you know, with what she was saying. However, as a result of this, knowing that you went and chose a man over your child, Justin, her oldest child, as we saw in the episode, felt some kind of way because of the accountability of it all, and her mom and her, you know, his mom not taking accountability, for her actions. And, the thing that bothered me the most with Yolanda is that she had this very, what I call, selective memory. You forget certain things, but then you want to interject other things into the situation. And because you want to interject other things into the situation that's not even in regards to anybody else's experience, like Iyanla was trying to explain to Yolanda, that you cannot assume that your experience is everybody else's experience in the room. You got to take accountability for your own actions. You got to think outside of the box of how this person feels and how that person feels. Now, let's get to the second child, because fast forward, well, hold on, before I go to the second child, so as a result of all of that, when Herbert came to the house, and this was back, during after Nancy had passed, and Herbert had put his hands on Yolanda. Basically Yolanda pretty much pressed charges, which ended up putting Herbert in jail. Okay, and a black man being in jail at that time, you already can imagine how that was. So now we got animosity with Lulu's brother, okay, who would be the uncle of Yolanda, who feels some kind of way because he feel like that Yolanda set him up, because after he had put his hands on her, Yolanda basically said, "I got you, MF, I got you," basically like provoking her, but knowing that he was going to, pretty much retaliate and put his hands on her. He was just like, "I got you," she was just like, "I got you, I got you." So Herbert went to jail. That created, tension between, her uncle. Then you got, at this point, Justin, who was Yolanda's first child. He feels some kind of way about his mom because she chose a man over him. And then you have Lulu, who is the foundation of it all, who is really the start of everything. Now, fast forward to the second child, Lauren. Lauren is Yolanda's second child. And as a result of all of this, Lauren also ended up in an abusive relationship with a man that ended up being friends with Yolanda's oldest child, Justin. Yolanda did not like this. Yolanda felt like that, because of the fact that it had been, I guess, proven in her mind that this man was abusive to her child, that Justin should not be associating himself with Yolanda's, boyfriend or whatever the case. And so because of that, it created friction and tension between all of them. Not only that, but Yolanda would sit here, Lauren, Yolanda's daughter, would send her pictures of, because Lauren ended up having children, and Lauren would send her pictures of the kids, and Yolanda, her mom, would sit here and reply back, "Oh, y'all look homeless," and all this stuff, just going off, just saying all kind of messed up stuff, sending police reports out to, Lauren's, circle of friends and family, just all kinds of stuff, all kinds of antics, as Lauren had stated. And as a result of that, Lauren felt like that her mom pretty much just had shamed her, for being with this man, when in reality, all she was doing was looking at the example that had been set before her. So now you got generational after generational after generational curses of abusive men, women sitting here picking men over their kids, and it just created just a whole trickle down effect. Then on top of that, you got KJ, who is the baby boy. Now KJ seems like that he the smartest of the bunch, and I can see why Iyanla, had him to be kind of like her, up underneath her, as far as like, being able to be the middleman and, telling everybody their wrongdoings and things, because he seems to get it. He's kind of like the last child, of generational, stuff that has taken place. You can tell that he is wise. You can tell that he also has a great relationship with Yolanda, who is his mom, as well as Lauren also has somewhat of a good relationship with her mom when you compare it to the oldest child, Justin, because Justin, at this point, he's just like, "Look, I don't trust my mom. I don't trust my kids around my mom. Whatever y'all want to do, y'all can sit here and do it in y'all household. But as far as me and mine, I don't trust it. I don't trust her. She's manipulating. She's a narcissistic personality, borderline personality. I ain't with it, And so you can tell that Justin is really hurt. And it just saddened me that, because you can tell that this man has a good heart. It's obvious that he wants his mom in his life. And the thing that bothered me the most about all of this is that I just felt like that Yolanda really was just putting on gaslighting for the show and really was just not really trying to get any resolution with either one of her children, because it just seems like that there will be moments to where you could tell she was kind of gloating in the fact of what she had done as far as her kids, and that she did not feel any remorse about it. And it just felt like, to me, a lot of people in the comments was like, she's just evil. But y'all have to realize this woman is just damaged goods. And sometimes when you are damaged goods, hurt people hurt people. What I mean by that is that when it comes to a person and what they've been through in life, some things just traumatize them more than others, and how they handle that down the line. Some people just don't realize what they're doing is causing pain and inflicting pain upon others. But by them doing that, it somehow makes them feel validated, and it somehow makes them feel like that they're worth something. So I feel like that's Yolanda's problem, is that she just, at this point, she can't see her wrongdoing. And I don't think that even at the end of the show, after it was all said and done with, you can look across the room and nobody really was really buying into her apology, because it just seemed like that she did not want to take accountability. And when it came to Justin, which was the main child that she had issues with, that had issues with her, he basically stated that his biggest issue with her was that he just wanted her to take accountability for pretty much, choosing a man, leaving him with his grandmother, abandoning, him, when he was, young. And so I felt like that Yolanda, in her mind, she just didn't think that, because he was young, he probably don't remember that. But because he did remember it, she kind of brushed it off when Iyanla questioned her about it, as if like, I don't remember doing this, or I don't remember saying this, or this didn't happen, or that didn't happen. And it just really baffled me on how vindictive, and I think the word that Iyanla used was, she was vindictive, but it was something that she put in the front of that. Proactive vindictive. It was something she put in the front of that, but she basically was just trying to tell her, like, look, you have the kind of mindset, she was telling Yolanda, of where you want to play victim, but you want to throw stones in the other hand, though, and hide the other. And you can't do that with your kids, okay? So if you're not willing to listen to your kids and what they're telling you, and you just want to sit here and place blame where you want to place blame at, nothing's going to ever get accomplished. And that's the problem that I had with Yolanda, is that it just seems like that she was not wanting to see things in the minds of others. It was all about what had happened to her, as it pertains to her father, lack of, as it pertains to Nancy. And then, Justin, just to go and add, Justin also mentioned that one of the other things that made him lose complete respect for his mom was that the fact that, she had told Nancy, I guess on her deathbed, like, you won't be able to keep slipping me those $100 bills anymore. Just make sure you leave something good for me. Basically, she, at the end was explaining that Nancy, who was pretty much like the father in her life, even though this was a lesbian woman, that, she would be taken care of in her passing. And Lulu had to make it be known to Yolanda, like, look, this was my money that Nancy was giving you, and it was going to be me to leave you something. And I would have done that for you had you sit here and not done what you had done to me. But because of the fact all of this stuff had occurred, and she found out that her daughter was just this really like vindictive, low down, just heartless person, it was just like she wanted really nothing to do with her. And even in the episode, if y'all watched, it just seemed like that Lulu did not sit here hardly speak 2 words to her daughter. Maybe it was just me, but it didn't seem like that she hardly spoke 2 words to her daughter. So it just was like, It just was a lot, a whole lot. And the fact that, Yolanda felt like that Derica, which was Justin's, now fiance or wife, I believe, did not have the right to make as far as give advice or be involved in family decisions. It was just like Iyanla said, why was that her business to be worried about it? And vice versa. Nobody should be in anybody's business of how, as far as when it comes to certain things. And for her to just continuously hold that and be mad at Derica, all because Derica had advised, her mom, Lulu, that she would be fine without the morphine drug. And to think that all of this occurred over this one situation happening, of where this lady is on her deathbed and it was a decision on whether to use the morphine drip or not. To think that all of this stemmed from that, whether it was Lulu's brother who had attacked Yolanda as a result of Yolanda coming into the house and showing out and cussing out Derica and cussing out everybody else, or whether it was the fact that Yolanda had, ended up, leaving behind Justin, her oldest son, and moving to New York, and choosing a man, over him, as a result of she felt like that, this man was going to love her and give her structure or whatever the case, and that, she felt like Uncle Herbert, was ashamed and didn't really, want anything to do with her because she had, had this child at such a young age. It just baffles me how all of this stemmed from a situation that really just should not have had to do with a lot of people. I just can't wrap my head around it. Nonetheless, what did y'all think about the episode? I know it's all over the place, but 5 generations of family. Clearly, like I said, I feel like that the kids, Yolanda's kids, I feel like that they will probably get the most useful, as far as out of this, situation that happened with Iyanla. But I don't feel like Yolanda is just at that point. I feel like Yolanda has a mental block, and she just is like, look, I'm not here for it. I'm just gonna sit here and put on a good show and take my ass home, and that's it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I gotta go watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. Until next time, y'all, Mr. 6'8" coming at you. Like, share, subscribe to this video. Leave the comment. Until next time, peace.